Now, welcome everybody. We can start. Welcome to today's masterclass where we're going to discuss SEO for small and medium businesses. So the title of the workshop of today is website optimization for small businesses. Get found, get clicks, grow. First of all, is a great website useful if no one else can find it? So I have built a lot of website, and what happens sometimes is that if the founder or the team behind it doesn't want to invest in making the website grow, actually even the most beautiful website just stays there and doesn't grow because of lack of traffic to it. And it means that even the most beautiful website actually doesn't mean anything if it cannot contribute to creating growth for your business. So today we're going to learn how to fix this. What we're going to cover today. First of all, what SEO really means. Then I'm going to share with you 3 free tools that you can use to test your website. Then we're going to look at the most common mistakes or errors that affect websites and prevent your website from ranking on Google. And then lastly, we're going to have a look at how AI is changing the way in which website ranks. But first of all, a short introduction about myself. My name is Federico. I have a past as tech founder. Now I lead Sparker, which is a digital design agency. And with Sparker, I focus on helping B2B companies with a better digital presence that helps them attract new business. So let's start with what is SEO in plain English. A lot of you guys are coming from different worlds than marketing and SEO, so it's normal that you probably have never heard of that. SEO stands for search engine optimization. It basically means that your website is easily discoverable from Google. That means that Google or any different search engine, like for example Bing, can find your website, understand what it is about, and trust it enough so that it can show it to other people. Obviously, Google tends to be very protective, right, of what they show to their visitors. That's how they keep their reputation high. That's how they make sure that people keep going on Google to find results. So they want to make sure that they share to everyone who's looking for things the best possible quality in terms of search results. So if you're not showing Google that your website is high quality, chances are Google will not show it to people who search for things. You often hear people saying that SEO is dead, but is it really so? Well, 93% of traffic in 2025, which is what I'm talking, still comes from search engine. So that means that if you think that SEO is dead and it's not worth to optimize your website for Google and to rank high on traffic, well, then you're leaving like 9 out of 10 possible leads on the table. 3 pillars of SEO. So now that we covered what is SEO and why it makes sense for you to invest time on it, the other thing that I want to show you is what are the 3 different pillars that constitute SEO. You often hear people saying things like SEO is mainly about producing content, which is certainly part of it. But the other important thing is that SEO is not just content, it's also about optimizing the technical aspect of it. And then lastly, the user experience. So just to give you a bit of a quick idea of what each one of these things mean, content is obviously producing new content, new pages. It can be, for example, blog posts, videos on your website. This way, you're signaling Google that you have an active website, which is not just floating there, but it keeps churning content to engage users. The second one is the technical part, and it's actually the foundation of it. That's why it's here made with a Lego brick. The technical side means that you have everything in place to correctly tell Google what is it that it has to read from each page of your website. We're going to look in this workshop at all the things that constitute the technical side of your website. And we're also going to look at how to optimize them. So this is going to be the focus for today. And then lastly, the user experience. User experience means that if you have even the most relevant content and you have optimized everything, but then when people come on your page, they have, for example, just a block of text which is not easy to scan, then most of them will just not start reading, even if the information there is very compelling. The reason for that is because roughly 60% of people, if not more, actually don't read websites but scan them. We want to find information quick, so try to imagine that you're looking for an answer to something on Google. You probably open one or multiple tabs and you quickly want to scan if indeed you're going to find the solution to what you're looking for. We all do it. You're not going to read all the website before doing it, so you want to have a very easy way to assess that. Now, let's get practical. I'm going to share with you 3 different tools today. Each one of them is important to cover one of the aspects of technical SEO. The first one is PageSpeed Insights. It's a page that you can use, that you can open from any browser. You can copy paste your URL there, and it's going to give you some information on your website. The second one is SEO in one click. This is a Chrome plugin that you can install on your browser. And then once you go on the URL of your website or any website, it's going to give you very relevant information on what are the technical components of that website. And then the last one is called Screaming Frog. That's a bit more old-fashioned if you want, because you have to download it on your computer. But in terms of technical know-how, it's going to give you the most complete overview of all the technical things that you want to discover about your website. Actually, what you will find with Screaming Frog covers most of the other things that you find. But since it's quite technical and a bit geeky, I left it as last, and you don't really need it if you don't want to go too deep into SEO. So as I said, each one of these plugins or tools are going to give you a different insight in the SEO, the technical SEO of your website. And each one of them is free, so you don't have to spend money. Now, the first one, PageSpeed Insights. So what this is about, it's going to tell you the speed of your website. So you can upload the URL of your website, and then after you click on Analyze, it's going to tell you how fast your website loads. It's also going to give you very relevant information of the difference between desktop and mobile. And then last one, it's going to give you some information on the UX of the website. Now, the user experience is not strictly speaking part of the masterclass of today, but nevertheless, it can be good to just have an insight into what's the way in which people are going to consume the information on your website. So here on the right, you have, for example, an example of a report that you get after you upload your URL on PageSpeed Insight. So keep in mind, Google hates slow sites. You know that if it takes more than 2 seconds to load your website, you're actually going to lose 90% of your traffic. That means that the first starting point for you should be to have a fast loading website. Number 2, SEO in one click. So this is a plugin that you can plug into Chrome, and once you have it on your browser, you can run it on any website that you have. It's going to give you information on technical things like title, description. If you have the premium version, it's also keywords, URL, canonical. Some of these things are more useful than other, and some of these things are more important than other. So I recommend that you focus especially on this first one and the last one. So number 1, title tag. Title tag, if you think of when you make a research on Google, these are the things that appear on the research. So you're not going to see these things on your website, but users or potential visitors are going to see them from the results of Google page. So the title tag is the first thing that they will see, and the meta description is the text below it. Then the last one is the header structure. So header, you can think of something like chapters of your website. Now, Quick description of what these things are. So the title tag is the title that is shown on Google search. As said to you, the importance of it is that it tells Google and users what your page is about. It usually makes sense here to also insert one of the keywords that you want to rank for. So for example, if you are a lawyer in London, then you might want to have your name like Attorney Campbell, lawyer in London. Meta description, it gives more information on what your page is about. Then again, this is super important to help increase conversion to your website. And here as well, my recommendation would be to use the same or another keyword that you have. One of the mistakes that a lot of people do in their title tag is that they just write the name of their company. So for example, my company is called Sparker. But if I just write Sparker there, I'm actually not gonna tell enough of what are the services that I offer, which is the reason why my title tag is something like Sparker Digital Agency in Utrecht. And then last one, headers. This give the structure or the skeleton, if you want, to your website. If you go back here, what's important here is just to be consistent with that so that you don't jump any of this. So after H1, you have H2, and then you have H3, and then you make it consistent. You see a lot of websites are built jumping from H1 to H3 or H6, and that's not good practice. Second one, remember to only have one H1 of your website. If you run this plugin on your website, it will tell you everything that you have to know about it. As I mentioned before, the tip that I give when it comes to this part is use clear keywords that are use clear headlines that are keyword rich. Don't try to be clever, but be very specific about what you offer. Especially don't try to use two words that users might not understand. So where do you make these changes? As we said before, these are not changes that you make directly on your page. You have to go inside of your web builder, for example, WordPress or Webflow Framer, whatever you use. And then you will see that you might have something like a settings page, SEO page, and there is where you can change these keywords. Sometimes it happens to me that I work at websites created in the past that don't even have these sections. The reason for that is because not everyone knows that they exist. So chances are that if you have a website, it might even have a blank section for each one of these. So even the most beautiful website will not rank on Google. Here is what I said before. So an example, well, there's a lot of websites that I see that just have home, for example. Be specific and describe what users are going to find on your page. The third tool, as I said to you, is Screaming Frog. It's strictly speaking not necessary that you use it, but it helps you dig a little bit deeper into all the technical parts of SEO. So once you download it, you add the URL of your website and then you can launch it. It will help you identify anything, especially broken links, which means, for example, if you have a link on your website, which is then pointing to a page that doesn't exist. That's usually a signal of low quality for Google, which is the reason why if you have broken links, you want to make sure that you fix them. Otherwise, it's harder for you to rank on Google. Missing headers, which is what we mentioned before. So if you're skipping one from 1 to 3 to 4, 1 to 2 to 3, duplicate content, which is equally something that doesn't land well with Google. And here I'm talking about what we mentioned before. So for example, in your description, if you have this duplicated, chances are that Google will be confused and will not show any one of these duplicated pages. And then last one, indexing issues. If there is anything that you want to know of what is preventing your website from indexing. So it's a bit nerdy, but it's a very powerful tool. And that will be my third recommendation. Now, the last thing that I want to share with you today is how AI is changing SEO. Then again, when we started, we say a lot of people say that now with AI, SEO is dead. It's actually not true. but it's true that AI has changed a little bit the way SEO is done. In terms of technique, some things have changed, but the truth is that AI is just repackaging something that we were already doing before into a different tool, different techniques. That means that SEO has always been about how to make sure that your content is high quality so that it ranks wherever people need to find it. And Google has had several updates throughout the last 10, 20 years. And now AI is just, say, one more update from a certain point of view. How things have changed. So before AI, keyword is king. So that means that a lot of websites were trying to optimize for keywords, and that led to some odd results. Like you might have seen a lot of websites that kind of repeat over and over again the same keyword. Like, for example, if you're trying to look for a recipe, then before you get your recipe, you have a lot of, say, headers or chapters that say like best apple pie in Minnesota, and then what's the secret of a good apple pie, and then only at the end you get the recipe for your apple pie. Well, now with AI, this is no longer true. Context is king, so that means that AI wants to quickly understand if the whole context of your page, of your article, can help users find an answer to the thing that they're looking for. So it's less relevant to stuff your page with keywords. The second one is that before, high density was very important to get on top. Then again, that's the reason why a lot of pages were stuffed with keywords. Now, what will help you to get on top of AI is more content that answers in a clear way to specific answers that questions that people might have. So instead of stuffing with keywords, what you want to do is to organize your content so that it can seem like an answer to a potential question that has been asked. And sometimes you also might want to have that question as chapter to each section of your website. For example, from this point of view, if you have a good FAQ section on your homepage, for example, that's going to be very important. And then last one. So whereas with Google, the connection tended to be more in terms of exact match of keywords, now it's really about the semantic relevance. So that means that it's really more about understanding the context again, because AI will read your website like a human being. So for this reason, it's even more important that you write and upload things that make sense, that are written for human first, and then AI will pick them up as well. Now, quick recap of all the things that we discussed today. First of all, use SEO in one click to check the title, meta, and header of your website. Second of all, run PageSpeed Insights to improve the load time. PageSpeed Insight will not improve the load time itself, so that means that after you have identified if you have a good load time or not, if you haven't, you will need to find a different solution for that. So sometimes it's about a better hosting of your website, sometimes it's about changing the way your website is done. I recommend starting with hosting first because it can be a cheaper solution. If you notice that your website is done with a code that makes it very slow, or with plugins that make it very slow, well, then it's a bit more complicated, and probably you need to ask a professional to redo all of part of your website. Number two, fix titles and descriptions. So be specific and make sure that you use keywords of things that people are looking for. Don't ignore mobile. So also have a look at how your website performs on mobile. And then think like a user when you are approaching the way in which content is shown on your website. Lastly, don't do keyword stuffing, but write clearly. So how does that match with what I just said before? Use keywords in the description and titles. Well, use them, but there's no need to stuff them. However, using at least one or two will give a very good signal of what kind of keywords are exactly, of what are the things that your pages or website needs to rank for. Now it's your turn. So let's fix your website. You have the tools, and you can move forward with that. And if you want to know more, feel free to get in touch. You can get in touch with me at my email address, which is federico@sparker.co, or visit the website www.sparker.co. Thanks a lot for joining.